welcome to this special episode of Mommy in Chief. We always talk about moms, but today we're here to honor our African American fathers. We have 3 fathers in studio today to keep the discussion balanced and lively. Welcome, dads. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
So we posed the question, what would you like to ask African American fathers on MadameNoire? And we received a tremendous amount of feedback. So all the questions that we're going to ask today were posed by our readers, okay? Would you say that having a child was one of the best moments of your life? Loaded question.
All right. I'll say yes to that, but also frightening. I don't know if
Honesty. We got the honest answer.
Because we spent all our time, preparing, like you can save all your money and buy all that stuff. But I distinctly remember being in the hospital. They said, okay, bye. Yeah. And I was standing in the lobby like, seriously? You're just going to leave me with this kid?
It's very difficult in my perception because I didn't grow up with a father. So there was no real foundation to compare what a good dad is to.
Yeah.
So I remember having a conversation with my son. He was about 6 years old, and then I'm saying to him that Santa Claus isn't real and that mom and dad, actually buy your gifts. I told him that I didn't have a father, so he should be happy that, most kids, don't get a chance and opportunity to have as many gifts as you do. And he looked at me and he said, how could you not have a father? So it was at that time, I was very jealous and proud of my son, and my son at the same time. Jealous that he doesn't know what it is not to have a dad. And I do.
What are some challenges that you want to talk about that you face when you raise your kids?
I think one of the challenges, especially in this day and age with so much information out there and sources of information with smartphones and iPads and tablets, is that your children are exposed to so much information when they're not in your care. And it's really important as a parent to kind of monitor all that and know, really pay attention to what your child is learning.
Do you think there's a negative portrayal in the media of black men when it comes to fatherhood?
No,
I don't believe so. I mean, black men are really not holding up the end of the bargain at the end of the day. But I do think that there's not enough to balance out the negative stereotypes that we see on television with the positive ones.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that in today's day and age that you have to have a 2-parent household to have a successful child anymore. I date a ton of women who want to have kids and are willing to just have kids without the father there.
Oh.
So if you are dealing with that, then that means that us as fathers have become expendable in the relationship. How do you get mad at it when you have so many black women who are okay with having kids without a father?
But I feel like that's a defense mechanism.
I remember that my father was very adamant about trying to be a positive role model, not just to me, but to my friends, the guys I played Little League football and baseball with. So even if their home situation wasn't the best, they still had an idea of what a good father and what a good home should be like.
Like, that's building off what I was saying before. There's 3 of us on this panel now, and 2 of us can attest to the fact that we haven't had a dad in the home, right? So then that also reminds me of another situation where me and my fiance and my son are in church, and the women that are in the church are congratulating me for still being there, which on one hand is like, thanks for the acknowledgement, but on the other hand, it's sad that you have to acknowledge me for that. Because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but everyone's so used to it not happening that, oh, you're a good brother. I'm like, no, I'm a regular, responsible person. Like that's baffling to me,
You don't love your kid unconditionally until it's your choice to have the kid. Now, if it's not your choice, now you're like, you have to get past those feelings that you had towards her, sort of trapping you almost. Now you're learning to love your child because you're learning to separate her from the kid.
How can fathers maintain a healthy relationship with their children if they are not able to get along with the child's mother?
Your problems with the other person has nothing to do with a kid.
My son's mother grew up in a household with a father. So she knew the importance of what it is to have a father in the child's life.
Right.
Whereas my daughter's mother did not grow into a house with a father. So the idea of a man or a father being expendable. The reason why I started to fight for my daughter is because how can she expect any man that she dates or courts her to fight for her if her own father didn't?
What is the best way for us as moms to support the fathers of our children, husbands, when it comes to parenting?
if the child comes from planning, you need to have conversations before you have the children of what kind of parents you want to be. So, discipline, what kind of schools you want them to go to, what religion they're going to be raised, if you go to different churches, like all these kind of decisions. There's a responsibility of both parents to not treat each other in a derogatory way, especially in the presence of the child.
You all have been fantastic. I really appreciate this. This was really an awesome, spirited conversation. Thank you all so much. Thank you, dads, and happy Father's Day. For more information on today's episode, log on to our website at madamenoire.com/mommyin-chief. Follow us on Twitter at MadameNoire and like us on Facebook. And you can always find me on Twitter at Karen_Parsons and sweetblackberry.org. Thanks.